Hello, hello. Welcome to today's episode. Yes, you are going to want to stay on this episode for today. You are going to want to get a pen and a piece of paper. You are going to want to invite your friends, family, coworkers, anyone, your church, people to listen today. Yes, I am having a huge awareness and clarity in real time. And guess what that means for you? Yes, you get to walk away with a implementation today of something that I'm going to give you to start working with so that you can start moving forward in your life, so that your ceiling now becomes your floor, so that my ceiling can become your floor or your tower, so that the things that has been blocking you and blocking your focus, that it's going to become very clear today, and that today you understand that you're going to walk away with a massive amount of self-compassion, grace, and no more fearing what people are going to say, how you're going to look, how you're going to sound. And today is going to be very monumental and pivotal for you. Some of you are going to remember today's date. July 27th, 2026. It's going to be the day that I started my reclamation. It's the day that this chick that I've been listening to, even if it's your first time or your 50th time, because I have over 100 and I think over 150 episodes. I've recorded a lot, okay? Today's going to be the day, however long you've been listening to me, and maybe you've been listening to me for the 3 years that I started. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago that I started this podcast. I almost quit, but I didn't quit. Today, I have been mastering the art of clarity about what I do and who I am. I have been cutting the roots of my identity that I attached to people and accolades and validation. The identity that I was walking in that said, you've got to do things this way or you're not worthy or you're not going to be chosen. Unless you show up looking, pristine on social media, people aren't going to choose you. That's the messaging. Identity, which plays a role in everything that we do, including how we make decisions and what decisions we make. It includes where we get a job, what career, it defines our career. It defines how we raise our kids. It defines how we show up, what we wear, how we talk, what we speak about ourselves, and what we talk about in the presence of others. Our identity plays a role in the types of environments we put ourselves into. Also, the types of friendships that we have. And as I'm sitting here today going through an exercise, which I'm going to tell you about, I learned from a mentor today, but I'm going to give you my experience about it. In fact, I will be sharing a link for you to get into that space because it's a link I have for you that I'm going to put. It's oh goodness. I don't remember the name. All you know is the founder of it. It's like a mastery, self mastery. Anyway, it's where you get to find yourself again, where you stop abandoning yourself. You reclaim who you are in real time. It's where you are going to find your confidence again. It's where you're going to show up, where you're going to find that your ceiling has been stopping you, your thoughts, your beliefs, how you operate, what you say, how you speak. You're going to find it's called the real method, where you reclaim every part of who you are. Evolved mastery, that's what it's called. I always pray that the Holy Spirit would guide my words when I get on. No, this isn't a religious podcast. I've been sitting here also And I didn't even realize this until I got in the presence of great people to help me. My whole life, I have been putting myself under judgment, under a very strict way of doing things, holding myself to some high standard that left me feeling less than, low self-worth. I lost my confidence because I was holding myself in contempt for not being where I have been expected to be in my life. You know, the should category, all the shoulds. Did you know that the shoulds is like the shits? Okay. We've got to stop shoulding ourselves into making decisions that don't align with who we are or where we're going. One of the things I notice that I don't do is I don't give strategy. By listening to my story, you're going to walk away with something that you get to implement immediately. It could be joining the Evolved Mastery, where you reclaim who you are. It could be sending me an email, which I'll provide for you, to send me a testimonial, where you get to tell me that I have permission to share your testimonial. Well, I believe it's fair game. If you share a testimony with me, I'm going to share it with you, but you also need to be specific. Do you want to be anonymous? Let me know how this show that you've been listening to has transformed your life. Celebrate any little thing like, hey, I'm celebrating that I've been listening to your show, and every day, whatever has happened for you, it's never too small and it's never too big. And you're not meant to never take up space. You are meant to take up a ton of space, a shit ton. And if that's all you do, then so be it. But you are implementing, you're taking one step further than 98% of the population. So are you going to be the top 1%, 2% of people? Or are you just going to listen to my podcast and then say, oh, that was great, and then go about going back to the same patterns that has robbed you of your self-worth, robbed you of the reclamation which you desire, your soul. By the way, every single day, you ready? You can probably hear the passion in my voice for good reason, because I'm not what I would call an expert. I have authority in this realm. That's what it is. And so when you listen, don't just be one of those people that just are like, well, good, that's great, and then go back to the same patterns and behaviors, because your soul and your spirit are crying out every day for you. Will you just let's move forward? Can we just get out of the same patterns of thoughts, behaviors, actions, attitudes, energy, confidence? Get out of the same patterns and behaviors that's draining all of that. Let's get into something that's going to help us. And every single day, whether it's you pressing play to a podcast or you pressing play to a, a book that's not, talking about murders and 50 Shades of Grey. No judgment, but I'm here to tell you something. Listening to 50 Shades of Grey and listening to murder mysteries and all that stuff and paranormal whatever does not help the soul or spirit thrive. It actually it just sends them to a death. There's no hope in that. No wonder your thoughts aren't lining up with where you desire to go. It's a choice. Switching up your activity, switching up what you are taking part in. This includes conversations. I just realized that there are certain conversations that has been happening around me in a specific environment that I have been going to that I didn't know was draining every part of my life for the last 7 years. Talking about a current career, current job. Now, this is my experience. I didn't know that I got this job out of familiarity, comfort, because it's what I knew. And little did I know that this job is the last job that I desire to ever get into that resembles any environment like this ever again in my life. There are conversations around me where people are choosing to stay in negativity, complaining. They're doing nothing with the problems. I'm a solutions oriented individual. Here's the deets. If you bring to me a problem, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to tell you this is how you get out of the problem. And if you choose to do nothing with that, I'm done. Because I'm not going to sit and listen to the same complaints over and over again from the same people who refuse to move or refuse to speak up. So now I decided today that I'm going to start handling every conversation I hear differently. Okay, we're talking about the same thing. Do you want a listening ear? Are you venting? Do you want a solution? And by the way, what you are about to tell me, I am documenting things because at some point, if I ever go and start a case against things that are happening in this department, just so you know, this is getting handed in. Okay? So you decide. And then are you going to speak up? Or are you just wanting to vent? So people, I'm going to start being specific because the conversations that are around me rob me of my energy. They rob me of my confidence. They rob me of my belief system and my self-worth. A lot of things that happen, and no matter what I do behind the scenes to grow, I'm still caught in the crossfires, and I'm like, why is this? I am just a bystander. I'm not somebody who purposefully puts myself in these environments. But I also have had to learn how to have massive self-compassion, massive grace, unconditional self-love as I'm learning about myself. As I'm learning, like, hey, Tiffany, it's not your fault that you were handed this bullshit messaging growing up in foster care and the church. It's not your fault that what you endured. It's not your fault that you didn't know what you didn't know, right? I can't hold myself in contempt in a cage for not knowing what I didn't know, but I can do the work now, and I can have massive self-compassion over myself, massive grace, massive self-love, and let myself know, like, hey, now that we know, we're not going to put ourselves in that type of environment ever again. As I was talking to my friend, I said, I got to go do a podcast. So I had to stop talking, and I'm in here. I also went through a exercise on naming the location of where the anger has been sitting in my body, where it is in my body. Then I got to name the emotion, state the emotion. And it wasn't oh, I'm so angry that I'm in a job, a career that has robbed, in a career that, sucks. No, it sounded like this. I have wasted 7 years of my life in a job, 30 years of my life in a career that I can't take back that has robbed me of energy, time, confidence, self-worth, my voice. I've abandoned myself, abandoned my values, abandoned my self-worth. I've been robbed of my voice being heard. It's been muffled. It's been hidden. I started going down the line of everything about my job, everything about my career, everything about religious environments, everything about business, everything about getting in the environments of coaches, mentors, masterminds. I went to town. Do you want to know what happened? God didn't get angry. I actually feel more free. My Guess what? My back has been hurting. I can feel like there has been like a slip disc. I don't know what's going on with my back lately, but my back has had a lot of pain my whole life. It's also because growing up, I was taught like, hey, I can't be honest. I can't be real. I gotta hide, I gotta sugarcoat, water down. Because if I don't please people, if I don't sound the part, if I don't look the part, then I suck and I'm less than. People have always criticized and critiqued and changed what I was saying to be palatable for them. But no, no, no. In God's presence, I don't have to be palatable. I can come in as I am, guns blazing, cuss words. He doesn't care. It's rather I go humbly to his throne of grace versus going in there acting like he's the worst, father of all. But that's what I was taught. I was taught that God's an abusive God. That's what I was taught, but that's a fucking lie. That is a freaking lie. And yes, I do cuss. So I do. Not all the time, but you know what? It brings the emphasis down. I'm not cussing at God. And it's different between cursing. There's a difference. Curse words is cursing the ground, striking it with evil words. Cussing is not. It's not the same thing. I'm not cursing myself. When we get honest, consider this tip or strategy number 3. When we get honest, completely, wholeheartedly, without abandon, like without self-abandonment, we become free, we become whole, we become unlocked. I believe healing is in the very words that we speak. And when we get so real and raw, once it's spoken and we become honest and we cut the shit, which has been my messaging for the last 5 years. My messaging started out as this to the world: it's time to cut the shit already. Let me tell you something. When we do, we become free. We become powerful human beings. We become unfuckwithable. We become like memorable, magnetic. We repel people who try to come at us with their BS. There's a lot of people that will try. Last but not least, getting in environments, connecting with people who are doing the thing that you want or have done the thing that you want. People that are several steps ahead and you're like, "Hey," or they're in it that like, "I'm showing you what it's like to be in my space, but it's messy." I don't come to you from a pedestal or the mountaintop. I'm not a guru. What I'm sharing with you today is something that I have been walking in today. Over the last 3 days, I've been doing the hard work. I mean, over the last several years, I've been doing the hard work behind the scenes for healing. But the last 3 days, I've gotten breakthrough. I've found my identity, my voice, my self-worth, my confidence again, found my value. Actually, last 5 days. Well, since Thursday. Monday, 4 days. Okay. And then over the weekend and today, I had no idea about the um, anger exercise. Do you want to know how many of you I bet, if I was a betting woman, how many of you will be in my inbox after you do that exercise? Go back and re-listen to this, and when you get to that part, do that exercise, but do it for every area of your life, because your nervous system knows, so does your spirit, and so does your soul. It's time to stop hiding. It's time to stop selling ourselves short. Time to stop selling our soul for what we know. It's time to stop negating our peace over chaos and people pleasing and comfort and familiarity. By the way, comfort and familiarity, I'm telling you, the cords can be cut. But we have to be willing to do the work. And some of us, pretty sure I might have lost a few people, and that's okay. That is what I'm willing to sit with. I'm going to lose people along the way, and that's okay, but you've got to be willing to do the work. True story in my life. One of the criterias that I have with friends is that I am not your therapist. Do not treat me like one. Do not use me as a vending machine or a fortune cookie, because I am not that. Don't expect me to coach you. I am going to treat you respectfully. I expect you to respect my boundaries. But the other criteria that I have is that they have to be working on themselves behind the scenes. That means they have a therapist or they have a coach or a mentor and they're doing the work, because I am not their shit magnet. And I am not somebody that is meant to be mistreated by people just because they don't know how to treat people. And I refuse to sit there and watch people in my vicinity sit there and make excuses and act like a victim for why they are the way they are and where they're at in their life. Because it's like, you obviously do not know the cost I've paid to get to where I'm at. If you want to be my friend, this is what it's going to take. You're not allowed to trash talk your spouse. You're not allowed to gossip. Don't bring me gossip. I will shut it down. I have had people who have said they're friends get mad at me for setting boundaries about gossip. Took it a step way too far. Defended themselves, used past experiences, trauma to defend themselves and why they did what they did. But it's like, you have no excuse. You knew what you were doing, and therefore I'm not going to tolerate your behavior towards me any further. You have shown me who you are, and I gave you a second chance. We had a conversation, and yet you still chose to repeat the same pattern. So we're done. When you get to the life where you start knowing, no, excuse me. When you get to the part of your life where you start knowing your value, I promise you, you're going to start changing. It's going to be noticeable. Not at first, but to others. They're going to be like, who the hell do you think you are? You've changed, blah, blah. Yeah, I have. And you know what? My life is so much more peaceful because of it. And lastly, when you start going through your journey of healing and you start applying what you're hearing in this space, that is where you get to make sure that you are a part of a community. I am creating something called the Reclamation Movement. I will be talking more about that. I have been. Today I'm just planting the seed. I have something coming for you. Yes, I'm working on it. And excuse me, the other thing is, make sure you have a team of people around you, a community, but not just any community. It's got to be people that you can connect with, that are doing the work, that are a version. You see them and you're like, wow, I got to have some of that. How do I get that? Once you start asking the words how, that's where you got to stay curious, but you also got to get around people. It's who you get around that will make or break the areas of your life that you really want to move in. And we have got to become unapologetic people for how we want to live and how we want to show up. There's no room for apology for being bold and confident and whole. I feel like I can breathe again. I can't explain it, but since doing that exercise for anger, and there's my phone telling me that storage is running out. So that's my cue. So uh, thank you for choosing you, for showing up today. Thank you for being here, but you chose yourself. I ask you to please subscribe, follow, send this to a friend or people that you know will benefit from listening to this. And you chose yourself today. Give yourself a high five. And that concludes today's episode.